Okay, welcome back to Eco 701, lecture 03. This is the second half. Okay, and then now we move on to slide number 16, and then I provide you some examples of some very poor research questions. So let's go through these 6 bullets, and then I will explain why they are all poor research questions. So let's look at the first one. How can poverty decline more rapidly? This is actually not a research question, but this rather relates to the last chapter of your research essay, the policy suggestion. So in the last chapter, you can suggest some policy recommendations. What can the government do to reduce poverty? Okay, more rapidly, maybe the government should do a bit more on job creation, upgrading the skills of the currently unskilled or semi-skilled people with more training, cheaper or even free education, further education or training. Then maybe, who knows, they would eventually find a job with decent earnings, then poverty could decline more rapidly. But if I go back to the first bullet, this is a very poor research question. Okay. Second bullet, what can be done to boost real GDP growth? Again, that relates to the policy suggestion. Okay. So this is actually not a research question. Third one, what are the needs of the poor? I don't think this is a research question. It actually relates to your intro session, intro chapter, chapter 1. The background, setting the scene. You can talk about the needs of the poor, or they struggle to have electricity, tap water, and so forth. The next one, what can be done to increase government revenue? Again, it should be related to the conclusion policy recommendation chapter. This is, strictly speaking, not a research question. The next one, will poverty decline if social grant spending by government increase? This is too easy because everyone knows if government spend more on social grant, poverty would definitely decline. So this is a too weak, too cheap, too easy research question because everybody knows the answer. The last one, how much do graduates earn on average? Again, it is too easy. That relates to chapter 4, empirical findings. You can do a simple table to show the mean earnings of graduates. But this is a low-level research question. I wouldn't recommend it at honors level. Okay, the next one. This is important. The difference between general research objective and specific research objective. Your general research objective, there's only one, I repeat, only one general research objective that relates to your research question. The broad one, we also call it broad research objective, the larger picture into which the research problem fits, central objective or main purpose of the research study. And then for the specific research objective, there can be more than one. Actually, we need at least 2 specific research objectives. So it stands for the list of sub-objectives that contribute to the general or the broad objective. Okay, more narrow focus. And then if we go to slide number 20, I provide you with an example. If I go back to the non-money metric poverty by province topic. Okay, so this is an example of general research objective, broad objective, only one. I want to investigate the levels and trends of provincial non-money metric poverty in the country during these 10 years. And then for the more specific research objectives, there are 4 in total. I want to conduct descriptive statistics to examine the share of the population with access to each public services facility and private asset ownership. And then I will use a statistical technique called PCA, Principal Components Analysis, to derive an index, non-income welfare index for each person. And then afterwards, I'll examine the profile or the characteristics of the non-money metric pool. Okay, profile means maybe gender, race, education, labor market status. And then I can conduct a regression, probit regression, multivariate analysis to find out the characteristics of the non-money metric pool. So these are my specific research objectives. So I do all these 4 activities in order to meet my general or the broad research objective. Okay, and then if we go back to slide number 18, some suggestions to have very good research objectives. Your research objective must be specific. For example, example 1, examine poverty in South Africa. The word poverty is too broad, not specific enough. So example 2 would be better. I specifically want to examine non-money metric poverty by province. Okay, measurable. Example 1 is too broad. Okay, not measurable. Estimate inequality by gender. Okay, it is unclear inequality. We have many inequality indices. So if you look at example 2, it is better. I specifically mentioned that this is my measurable inequality index, Gini coefficient by gender. Achievable, example 1 is not achievable. Do you really think you can examine money metric poverty for 200 years? I don't think you can achieve it within 1 year. So example 2 is more realistic. I only want to look at 10 years from 2007 to 2017. It must be realistic. Example 1 is not realistic. Are you going to interview 30,000 people? Do you have the time for that? Example 2 is more realistic. I will use secondary data, the stats as a census data, to examine poverty by district council. Must be timely, the last one. Do you really want to look at the relationship between inflation and unemployment back in the 1800 to 1850? It is too long time ago. Unless your topic relates to economic history, then there's an exception. Otherwise, example 2 will be better. I want to look at the more recent years from 95 to 2015. Okay? And then the definition of key concepts section of the proposal. Remember, there are too many key concepts. So for the proposal, pick the important ones. So for example, maybe if your research topic has to do with strides, labor economics topic, then you define strides as whatever. Okay. Maybe if your research topic relates to comparison between CPI and PPI, then you define what CPI stands for and what PPI stands for. Okay. Theoretical frame, well, remember there are so many theories, you can't review all the theories, so maybe for the proposal, review plus or minus 2 most well-known theories. So for example, human capital theory, if you want to examine the impact of educational attainment on earnings. So I just want to show you the figure, because I know not everyone has done labor economics. Sorry, my laptop is a bit too slow. Okay. Okay, so this is the human capital theory. Then you can, so it shows that if someone with only matric, then his earnings curve throughout his lifespan until he retire at 65 years old, the earnings curve is quite flat actually. You wouldn't expect a person to enjoy a great salary increase. But for someone with bachelor degree, you see the steeper earnings curve because the person has a degree, so he's going to have an advantage in the labor market compared with a matriculum. So you can insert this figure and then review this human capital theory, assuming your research topic has to do with the examining relationship between educational attainment and remuneration in the labor market. Okay. So I can delete this figure. Now let's go back to the slides. Okay. Review of past empirical studies. Again, for the proposal or even your actual research essay, you can't review all the past empirical studies. Okay, so rather review the important ones, the most relevant ones, the well-known ones. Okay, after reviewing the well-known past empirical studies, you summarize what has been done, you reach a conclusion, then you should be able to find a research gap that your proposed study would want to fill. Okay, and then in the proposal, as I mentioned before, for the proposal stage, I wouldn't expect you to know too much about the methodology and data, so I wouldn't be too demanding for this session. Okay. I think I discussed the difference between primary data and secondary data in some earlier lectures. Even in your proposal, you can be honest with by inserting a limitation session just to say it is impossible to conduct X, Y, and Z empirical analysis because the survey does not ask question or does not capture such information. Then just be honest. So an example would be maybe for the poverty analysis, you can say that because the census data does not capture information on municipality or district council, this is why you would rather go for examining poverty by province. So in other words, the limitation of the study is that it is impossible to conduct poverty analysis by the smaller geographical areas like district council or municipality because the information is not available. Okay, or maybe at honors level, you just admit, oh, I can't conduct this sophisticated study or apply this difficult method because it is really too complex, too difficult at honors level. So just be honest, be realistic. Don't pretend you are an expert who knows everything. Remember, this is an honors level research study, not master's or PhD. So just be realistic and honest to highlight the limitations. There is only so much that you can do. Okay, and then this is for the third and the fourth term, just to give you an idea of the general structure of your research long essay. So I will pause it for 30 seconds just for you to go through that in case you are interested. Okay, I think I'm done with the slides. And then for the readings, okay. There are 3 examples on the proposal. So again, I want you to go through the 3 examples, and then these sticky notes comments are very important. So again, I wouldn't expect you to have the time to go through the whole proposal. So focus on the yellow highlighted text and then my sticky notes comment. Okay. So there are 3 in total. Proposal example, and then I also have the research proposal template from education faculty. If you are comfortable with that, then you can use this structure. Okay, proposal structure template. And if you have time, you can go through this UWC research proposal guide again. I wish you would have the time to read the whole document, but if you don't, then focus on the text that I highlighted in yellow. Okay, the relatively more important part. And then you will have your first writing workshops. Okay, so there are 12 sentences full of grammar or writing problems. So I want you to fix the writing. Okay, and then for the answers, it is provided in your lecture speech notes, the last page. So I can just randomly do a few. So this is the first one. Let me enlarge that. Then you can see more clearly. First one. These 2 authors argue, you can already see some grammar problem, that educational attainment amongst black is very low compared with the whites. So the correct answer is argue without the S. Okay. And then let's just do one more. The forever, I've already raised eyebrows with the word forever. The forever increasing unemployment rate in the country increase the challenge. Okay, so let's look at my proposed answer. I would rather say the continuous upward trend of unemployment rate in the country is challenging. Don't you think the sentence makes more sense? Okay. So when you have time, you can do this first writing workshop exercise, 12 sentences. And then I would suggest you to first answer the questions without looking at my answers. This is the really important learning journey. Only after you finish all 12 questions, then you can look at my proposed answer in the lecture speech note. Okay. And then what else do I need to go through? Maybe just give you a little bit more hint on the 3 parts proposal. The first proposal is a master's level proposal on that is actually Miss Tina Fransman, the one that I mentioned in the last lecture. Okay, on multidimensional poverty. Okay, and then the second proposal, it is an honors level proposal. Actually, I think it is about the strikes. Actually, income foregone in the South African economy as a result of strike activity in the mining sector. So again, focus on the yellow text, yellow highlighted text, and the sticky notes comment. Okay. Actually, for this proposal, the students admitted at the time she wrote the proposal, she didn't fully understand the methodology. This is why the methodology session is relatively weaker. Okay. And then the last one is a master's level proposal. It is on time series topic on exchange rate pass through. I'm not into time series macroeconomics. Okay. But again, I think my sticky notes comment are quite useful. Okay, so I rely on you to make an effort to do some self-study. Okay, so that's it. Thank you.